everybody, or should I say, what's good? Welcome to the podcast. Today is Friday, July 28th. You guys, the summer is 2/3 done.
No!
I'm so sad. I'm Andrea Renee, your so sad podcast host. Welcome to the show. I'm joined, as always, by my lovely panel of friends and co-hosts. This is Christine Steimer holding our brand new addition to the set. If you guys are watching the video, Steimer, hold that beauty up.
Target. Real pretty.
It says that's what she said. We found this morning.
Where'd we get this?
Called Therapy.
Therapy is the name of the store.
Nice.
That's Brittany Brombacher.
Hi.
And Alexa Ray Correa.
Hey.
We're all back together. The band is reunited. We're here in the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel, ladies?
Hot. I was going to say
Very
sweaty.
warm. Yes.
Sticky.
So,
damp.
like many of you around the country, we are feeling that summer-getting heat here in the San Francisco Bay. But we're going to try to power through and talk to you about some video games anyway. But before we get to that, I want to give a big shout-out and a thank you to one of our sponsors of the show, TakeThis.org. We are so grateful for them and their support, and we are looking forward to working with them at PAX West next month. But ladies, we ask this question every week. Did you know that 1 in 4 people in America deals with a mental health issue? That's 25% of the population. That is a lot of people out there. Maybe you deal with mental health issues, or maybe somebody you know or care about deals with them. Talking about mental health symptoms is the fastest way to find hope and healing, but the stigma of mental health issues make a lot of people feel like they have to suffer in silence, which is never a good thing. It's bad. Don't suffer alone. Take This helps by letting people know that it's okay to not be okay. And there is help out there. Visit TakeThis.org for stories from people like you, advice from mental health care experts, and tips on how to help people that you love or care for who might be struggling. Take This. It's dangerous to go alone. So thank you to our folks, our friends, I should say, at Take This. Please do go to their website if you have any questions at all about mental health. So I also have to plug our awesome Patreon page, patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. When this comes out, it'll be just at the end of the month. If you guys listen to our show, if you appreciate what we do and you would like to see more from us, it would really help us out if you could become a patron of What's Good Games. We would really love for you to join our community there. We have all kinds of fun exclusive content. We did 2 exclusive streams this week at the time of recording the show. We haven't done those streams yet, but man, we have some fun stuff planned.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh boy.
It's going to be exciting. And you know what else would help us out? Is if you could subscribe to this podcast. Even if you watch the video version or maybe you listen to the audio somewhere else, if you could subscribe on iTunes or Google Play or whatever podcast service you listen on, SoundCloud, it would really help us out a lot if you could leave a review or leave a rating. We would really appreciate that. So thank you so much again for all of your support. Ladies.
Yes.
There is some news this week, which we're going to get to.
There is.
We're going to have a pretty lengthy hands-on section this week as well. Alexa Ray and I got to go to a preview event for
We did.
a Guns Up Bethesda game, which we're going to talk about. But there was also a bunch of games that came out. So I think the summer lull is starting to go down, and now it's going to be games from now until like November.
Great.
So first story, which you guys were talking about. Wait, did you have something else to add?
No, I was just like, great. Like, it's a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing.
Why
It's
is it a
just-
bad thing?
No, it's not a bad thing. It's just I want to play everything.
And there's not enough time.
I try to play everything as it comes out because I want to stay current and I want to like get in the hype and be able to talk to everyone about it ASAP, but I don't have that time. So it's like, like for example, like Pyre came out last week and I've only been able to play like 3 hours of it. I just want to dunk people.
Yes.
Spiritually
Pyre
dunk
is
people.
Excellent.
But yeah.
I need to spend more time with that myself. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first up, Final Fantasy XV had an announcement of their multiplayer expansion. It's going into closed beta, which begins soon. So from GameSpot, players who've purchased the game's $25 season pass have either a PS Plus or Xbox Live Gold subscription will be able to sample the Comrades DLC next week. I'm sorry, did you need to slurp your drink in the middle of my story reading?
I'm angry drinking.
That was an angry slurp. You can slurp of protest.
That was a slurp of dismay. So you continue.
Oh my god.
Don't
that's pretty
choke, Britt.
joking.
It's okay. Okay, so as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. Does that work?
I missed you guys.
It is now. Slip interrupted.
The Comrades DLC will be available for closed beta August 3rd through the 8th. The expansion is a cooperative multiplayer mode for the, I was going to read this as it is critically acclaimed RPG. No. Okay, I don't know why that's in the copy. I mean, it was. I'm not trying to say it wasn't, but players will be able to create their own avatar, which they can use to take part in quests with up to 3 other players. The full expansion. Are you okay?
I'm good.
Are you having a hot flash?
I'm having a hot flash.
The full expansion will also feature an array of new weapons and sigils with different attack patterns, as well as single-player quests that can be undertaken with 3 AI party members. Closed beta offers a limited sampling of features from the full version, and participants can save up to 8 avatars and customizing them with elements limited to the test version, according to the game's official website.
But why though?
So this is the question we're asking ourselves.
Crying. She's
Why?
Okay, so our resident Final Fantasy experts there on the end of the couch.
are
We're
losing
good.
their
Oh
shit.
No, we're good.
Pull it
Oh my
together,
God, I'm
ladies.
having
Pull
a
it
hot
together.
flash.
Okay.
I'm so mad.
You're so mad you're crying.
Okay, I'll compose. Okay.
You would go first.
You're not. Neither of you.
Don't
can be
forget to talk
defined as
into your
composed.
microphone. That's important.
I'm professional.
Pretty go ahead.
The issue. Sorry, my microphone's kind of tilting, so I have to hold it up a little bit. The issue I'm having, and I think the same issue Alexa is having, is that out of all the possible content we as Final Fantasy 15 fans would want, we do not want multiplayer. I think if we had gotten the full story experience that we had hoped and dreamed about, this would be like, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but okay. But the fact that we're getting this instead of some much... Are you laughing again?
Why is there multiplayer in a Final Fantasy game?
Because that's what all
At
the
least it's
publishers
not
want these days.
Death
right?
No,
Everybody has to have
it's not
multiplayer?
it's not the death knell, but I understand a lot of companies are like, oh, multiplayer means longevity. Brittany, you hit it on the nose. We were expecting like a little bit more experience with the story, and like they're adding DLC, and like they've been polling us for months, what kind of content do you want to see? So they have this long DLC plan. So they're like, do you want, Luna playable, who's like the female lead who is there
Or is not there.
or is not there? Do you want to see more playable characters? Do you want to see more cutscenes about certain characters' journey? And they've been asking us what we want forever. And I know they mentioned that it was getting multiplayer, like I think last year, and they didn't say anything about it, and I was hoping they forgot it. I do not understand why this game needs multiplayer. It doesn't need multiplayer. I don't care. I don't want to be Alexa Ray in Final Fantasy 15. I want to play my Final Fantasy game like God intended, with a story that you play that is a story that is not me running around with my... Like, it's basically... That's what Final Fantasy 14 is for. And the patch notes and the way that they make this sound, where you gang up with other players and go on quests, just sounds like it's there to be there. Also, I'm laughing. Brittany and I are laughing because the notes for what's coming in this update are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Read us some of them.
Okay, so... All right, so in the full version, it says you will be able to explore quests with storylines as well as single-player quests. Join up to 3 other players online with a subscription to PlayStation Plus, blah, blah, blah. And then in the test version, it just says choose from one of 3 quests with up to 3 legs to each quest. So it's just not... I don't even know if they know it's coming.
What is a leg, though?
Not only that, then they have... What are you pointing at, Simon?
Encounter more cooks and enjoy a wider range of meal-based boosts.
Right. And I feel like, let me know if I'm wrong, Alexa, this is the first time that we're getting like concrete details on what you'll be able to do with this multiplayer expansion. And this is the worst possible way that I feel like you could deliver this information. I got a press release, and there was a link in there, and I clicked on it, and it's this kind of like side-by-side comparison, no visuals, no nothing, and it's really hard to kind of like soak in information that way. So I've read this thing probably 3 or 4 times, and I still have like little to no clue over what we're getting.
Right. Also, I don't want it. Like, I don't know. Like, you said it earlier. Like, I don't play Final Fantasy because I want to be in a multiplayer thing running around. Like, the appeal of that game, and the thing that all of us, I think maybe you can agree with me, are holding on to, is that that additional story content, that more coming, because I loved, like, you and I love the main game, but there's so much left undone and so much left unsaid, and we've gotten bits and pieces of that in the Gladio DLC and the Prompto DLC. Why is there multiplayer? Why is there multiplayer coming? Why is why? I don't.
Alexa, no one here can answer that question for you.
I know, but I feel like if I shout it loud enough.
Don't shout. Our poor unnamed producer is wearing headphones. Don't shout. Don't shout.
So the too long didn't
She's
read.
crying, you guys.
Too long didn't read version. Not sure this is something we really want. Alexa is definitely sure this is not something she wants.
No.
But let's try to keep an open mind and see what happens. We can run around as Alexa and Britt together.
We can.
You said you didn't talk about the avatar creation. Didn't you have
Jesus
there was
Christ.
little notes about that?
Yeah. Okay. So ultimately, the goal of this is that you'll be able to play as Prompto, Iggy, Gladdy, and Noctis in the multiplayer expansion. But up until that point, that's going to come in the final version. You'll be able to create and be up to 8 avatars
At once?
Not at once, but you can play with up to 3 other people. And so, yes, Timer, you can create yourself in the world of Final Fantasy 15 and run around and do your thing. Again.
Well, this is going to have to be a video then that we do.
It's going to have to be a video.
We're going to have to make ourselves, our likenesses in Final Fantasy.
It said you can make different avatars, but is there an actual character creation tool? Or do you know?
Okay.
I'm assuming. But
or is it like
say.
here you can be one of these different pre-made things?
Don't worry, I got you.
I really like their old wrinkly guy NPC model.
I can't wait to be an old wrinkly man.
Okay, so you can customize avatars with elements limited to the test version. And then in the full version, unlock customization elements with item purchases at outposts and quest rewards. Updates will add even more elements. Again, it doesn't really explain what anything is or how it's going to work.
Could be anything. Who knows?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we've covered it. That's how we feel. You don't want it. We know.
I know, but of all the stuff coming and all the stuff they're working on, I just don't. I'm just totally confused because this feels definitely shoehorned in. The one thing that game does not need is multiplayer.
Well, maybe this is something that they are looking at other franchises that have added multiplayer that have benefited from it. So potentially what they're trying to do is, because obviously there hasn't been a standalone Final Fantasy game in many years, they know that the gaming landscape has changed. They know that the audience is really attracted to multiplayer experiences. Perhaps there's a lot of new players that they've seen in the pool of people who have played Final Fantasy 15 that have expressed a desire for multiplayer. So maybe you don't want multiplayer. Maybe hardcore Final Fantasy fans like you who have been playing the series for many years don't want this. But maybe new people who perhaps Final Fantasy 15 was their first Final Fantasy. Maybe those people are like, hey, I would be into that. Let me try that out. Those people could exist in a world that we live in.
What's next? Kart racing?
I mean,
why not?
Chocobo kart racing.
They're already in a car. Let's just race them.
But
now you're talking sense, Alexa Ray.
Right. I feel like that would make more sense than multiplayer, though.
The only thing I find weird about it is like you said, it seems like they're doing it, for longevity. And I'm like, isn't this already a really long game? Like, how much?
Oh yeah.
How much longer do you want people to play this thing for?
You mean like longevity as in
Shelf
people
life.
coming back?
No, I mean,
Yeah,
I know, but I'm
back.
saying come on now. There's a reasonable expectation that people will stop playing your game at some point, unless you're World of Warcraft.
I think for me, like I said earlier, I'm excited to run around in Final Fantasy 15 with the 3 of you. I think we could have a lot of fun memories made from that. But it's disappointing, just to sum all this up, is that I feel like there's so much more story I want that felt a little bit rushed or kind of just brushed over in the main campaign. And so it's just a little upsetting that they're focusing on this multiplayer stuff instead of some main story elements that I would like to see more details on. Now, maybe it's coming. We don't know. But we haven't really heard anything besides the individual DLC.
I mean,
No.
what
We'll see how it goes. Hi, Prompto.
Jesus Christ.
Is that the right name?
Yes.
Yes. Promptolius.
Wow.
Okay, well,
Before we get any more sweaty, Andrea, we should move on.
Yeah, that's fine.
Before I get angrier, go ahead.
you ladies are worked up right now.
We're very passionate.
Okay. So our next story, The Sims 4 comes to consoles in November. I totally called this. I feel vindicated. This was part of my E3 predictions. Now, it didn't happen at E3, but we're close enough. We're a month out.
Yeah, we might as well be.
So from Polygon, they say The Sims 4 will make its console launch on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on November 17th. It launched on Windows PC back in 2014, and The Sims 4 will be the first console release for the main franchise since The Sims 3 launched on PS3 and Xbox 360 and Wii in 2010. So this game will deliver periodic game updates and additional content releases after it launches for console, according to EA. And those who pre-order it will get the perfect patio stuff pack.
Ooh, patio.
That includes outdoor hot tubs for sim living, among other things. A deluxe party edition adds even more outdoor accoutrements and will be delivered on November 14th. Subscribers to EA Access on Xbox One can play The Sims 4 for free from November 9th to November 17th, and their progress will carry over to the main game should they choose to purchase the full title. So, Steimer.
Yeah, hi.
You stream The Sims. How are you excited about this, or do you not care?
I mean, I haven't even gotten a chance to play The Sims 4 because I keep hearing it's not that good in comparison to the older ones. That being said, I will probably try it on consoles because I played Sims 3 on both my PC and my Xbox, I think. And
360.
The 360, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to go back to PC because there were hacks. And so like there was an apartment living thing, and on the box it shows that you can put a hot tub on your balcony in like a high rise, but you can't actually do that in the game unless you hack it.
What the shit?
Huh?
You have to
That's not fair.
hacksaw. Anyways, that's a
not
tangent.
fair.
But yes, I will play this. I'm glad it's coming to consoles. Mostly, and this is a dumb reason, and I'm anti this for most things, so this is hypocritical, and I'm aware of that. But Chivos.
Yeah, that gamer score. Gotta get it.
I'm like, might as well get some, right? If I'm going to play this game. I don't know.
No, that hustle is real. A lot of people buy games. I mean, there was a story about that game that came to the PlayStation Network that was called 5-star easiest trophy, 5-star platinum, something. I don't remember what the name of it was, but it the whole point of the game was like, this is the easiest platinum you can get. So clearly you're not alone.
Yes.
There are people out there.
So, Steimer.
Yeah, hi.
How many Sims have you killed in your day?
Oh, good portion. In fact, one of the past streams I did this year, I went through. I was trying to do a what do they call it, like a Black Widow sort of a sim where she would go marry a rich guy and then kill him off, and like rinse repeat. Although it was a man, it was a hot dude trying to get hot ladies.
Wait, what do they call them?
No, that's not the. I can't remember what is the term.
Well,
Gold
so
digger,
for,
basically. It was the gold digger thing. I just called her a Black Widow, but that's not.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
You like
Like
the
a
woman
Black
who
Widow,
marries the guy
baby?
and then kills him.
Yes,
and
but
then
I did the spin and it was a dude. But yes, it's a similar concept.
Is there a similar animal that also a male animal that kills its mate after
I think
mating?
it's mostly females.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's always the females.
Okay.
The female of the species is more deadly
Learn
than the male.
something new
All
every
right.
day, Alexa.
I love that you have a Sims diamond.
So I want to know, what was your favorite way to kill your Sims? Did you lock them in a doorless room?
I experimented. So drowning is the easiest and fastest. And
the
the
ladders out of the
least,
swimming
and
pool.
it
This
has
got
the
really
least
dark.
amount of damage
Drink,
to your
Andrea.
property.
Okay.
Because you can also choose to have them leave an open fire unattended, and eventually things will catch fire, and you can sort of trap them in a fire room, and then remove all the doors and be like, "Lols, enjoy." Which I did for one person because they were just an awful character. They were just mean, like they were just picking fights with everybody.
But
else.
don't
Like,
you control your characters?
They have traits.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I initially picked them to be sort of awful, but I didn't predict how awful they would be. So like I would give them like one or two positive traits, and then I threw in some more negative traits. And it just turned out real bad. Like people would be like, "We're having a great time," and then I would not really punch you because you don't punch in the Sims, but it would be like, all of a sudden I'm being really mean to you, and you're just crying, and you're like, "What the hell's going on?" It was
Yikes.
I
And
had
Sims
some very up and down Sims.
How about you do it?
Oh
Oh
God, Simlish. I do like that they made Katy Perry sing in Simlish for that expansion pack that she did for Sims 3.
That's cool.
And there's behind the scenes video, and it's just the funniest thing to me to see somebody like legitimately singing in Simlish, and she's taking it seriously. I don't know who could produce that.
I haven't heard that, but I would like to.
I'll show you later.
Thanks.
We shall look it up. All right, moving on to our next story. Nintendo touts 4.7 million Switch units sold.
From where?
Could have sold some more if you'd produced them.
From Game Informer, this morning Nintendo releases financials for the 3-month period ending in June 30th, with the company announcing that 4.7 million Switch units have been sold worldwide. The company also broke down its software to date. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at 3.92 million units.
That's
Mario
incredible.
Kart 8 Deluxe close behind at 3.54 million. 1-2 Switch, this is surprising. How many copies do you think 1-2 Switch sold?
2 million.
1.2 million.
Steimer?
I can't. I've already looked at this, so
Price
I
is
would
Right
be
rules.
lying.
All right, 1.22 million. Brittany wins. ARMS at 1.18 million. And in total, all Switch software sold tallies up to 13.6 million units for the system. So, these successes, along with the sales of other hardware, software, and mobile income, means that Nintendo is on track to meet its forecast for the fiscal year. Well, congratulations, Nintendo. I'm glad that you're having a great year. We, of course, have talked about several Nintendo games here on the show, and we will continue to talk about them. Obviously, Splatoon 2 just came out last week. What do you guys think about this news? Do you think that this is impressive? Do you think it's exciting, or do you think they still have a ways to go to catch up?
I mean, it would be it would have been nice. They could have sold more.
Where did the Switches come from?
What do you mean?
Where did they come from?
The lost land.
Well, I think they easily could have, made 30% more, potentially 30 to 50% more in sales if they had
Right.
actually had units available for sale.
It's hard to sell things
There's
that
a
you
lot.
don't have.
There's a lot of people that still can't find Switches.
Yeah, the amount of people that have complained about I'm obviously very happy that the console's taking off. It's a great console. It's super smart. I love mine, but given the amount of people that have complained about not being able to get one, I'm sort of surprised that the number's that high.
Yeah.
Well,
great.
I mean,
This is worldwide. Though.
remember, this is
Yeah,
worldwide.
worldwide. Yeah, no, in general,
So,
yeah.
like, the availability of Switches varies territory to territory. When here in the United States, obviously, they're difficult to come by. But I haven't heard of the shortages being, particularly terrible in other regions. But perhaps I'm wrong. If you guys are listening and you're a fan of ours and you live abroad in a different part of the world and you have a better read on what the Switch inventory is like in your area, please let us know.
I am a fan, however, of the show. But in Japan, I have heard that I was reading an article, and I guess it's really, really bad in Japan right now
Yeah,
to
in
get a
Japan
Switch.
it's bad.
People are lining up just for an opportunity to be entered into a raffle to get a Switch.
Yep.
Like thousands of people. Like if you just Google it or look online, Alexa, maybe you've seen the same pictures I
have seen
have.
them.
Just people just in massive lines, just waiting for an opportunity to be entered into a raffle to maybe get a Switch.
Well, in Poland, you can just walk into a store and buy one. So
See, it's
Go to
different
Poland.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Also, they're not their region locking is different than the past. So you can play a Japanese game on it. So I guess it doesn't matter what territory
region
it's
you
in.
buy it in.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because it does matter what region you buy the SNES Classic. So they had a little bit of a kerfluffle with these this week. So the UK had pre-orders up for the SNES Classic, which have already sold out, but at least you could pre-order the version that they are getting overseas. Here in the United States, no one has had pre-orders available until Walmart put up pre-orders on their website last Friday night. We were at, was it Saturday? Friday or Saturday. We were at San Diego Comic-Con, John and I, and we were sitting at the bar having dinner before going to IGN's event. So it must have been
It was Friday.
I got a
9
text
PM?
from a friend of the show, Neha, and she was like, girl, Switch, or she's like, SNES Classic pre-orders are up on Walmart. Here's the link. Go, 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 go. So I immediately tried the link. We were able to successfully place 3 pre-orders for SNES Classics. Was super excited about it. Told Brett I got her one, saved her one of the pre-orders. And this week, representatives from Walmart came out to say, sorry guys, there was a glitch. Let me read you the email.
a glitch in the Matrix.
A glitch in our system. We were not supposed to put our pre-orders live. So the email that we got canceling our order says, "Thank you for your interest in the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic Edition. As you are aware, this is a highly sought after console that will launch later this fall. Unfortunately, due to a technical glitch, the Super Nintendo Entertainment Classic Edition was mistakenly made available last Friday evening ahead of the official release date. We regrettably will have to cancel this item on your order. We know that this is incredibly disappointing to you, and we're truly sorry for this mistake. In regards to the cancellation of this item, if you paid by credit card, your card has not been charged. Any authorizations placed on hold of your account will automatically expire in accordance with the card issues policy." Blah, 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 blah,
That
blah.
doesn't seem very fair.
I do hope you'll give us another chance to earn back your business.
Nope.
I mean, I'll buy it from anywhere.
Listen, if it comes on sale for pre-order again at Walmart,
Yeah.
you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to put another pre-order down. But this was monumentally disappointing. So how do you feel about this, ladies?
I mean, it's not surprising.
Right.
I mean, it was very, very random, and Nintendo said, "We're not doing pre-orders." And then all of a sudden, like, random Friday night, Walmart's like, "Hey guys, look what we have." And I guess it's just not surprising. The very next day, I was entertaining my fiance's parents at the time, and so I completely missed the entire thing. And I was like near tears because, as everyone probably knows, I really want to get one for my grandma, and that one was going to go to my grandma. And the next day, I was doing some Twitter sleuthing, and people were already getting cancellations at that point. So, not surprising, but still, like you said, monumentally disappointing.
Yeah, it's frustrating because I'm not quite sure why they're not doing pre-orders for it yet. I mean, I get that the demand is, very high. I would think that they would want an idea of how many people are looking for these systems, but
Maybe that's what this was.
well, it's
a good test,
It's
but-
secret squirrel. So some people have theories about
Secret
that,
squirrel
right?
test.
So maybe they were testing the waters to maybe go to Nintendo. Maybe somebody at Walmart's like, "Listen, Nintendo, don't make us slap you. The people want this thing. You can't shortchange us on units. We saw what happened with the NES Classic. Let's not do this again." Or maybe Nintendo hasn't released pre-orders here in the United States and other territories because they're like, we honestly don't know how many units we're going to be able to produce. Potentially they're waiting on a specific part. That was, a theory, or, a reason why Nintendo Switch wasn't available widely because they were waiting on a specific part that was being used from the same factory as Apple, I think, was making components from, and so they didn't have enough. And so, like, maybe that's why. Maybe they just don't know how many pre-orders they're actually going to have, and so they're not going to do it. But
But then how are they doing it in the UK?
it's a different unit. It's not the same.
Built differently?
Yes, it's. I'll show you a photo of the UK version. It's different.
If anything,
I know it
feel
looks
like
different. I just imagined the components actually being the same.
I hope
and the guts.
I would have to imagine the guts are pretty close to the same, if not identical. But
yeah.
So here is what it looks like.
I hope Nintendo paid attention though, because this is a really good way for them to be like, oh,
Yeah.
these many people want one. Maybe we should make sure there's more than that. So I hope Nintendo sees those numbers and gets a hand on those numbers. Because again, maybe not an intentional test, but I feel like this is a pretty good way for them to estimate.
Well, I mean, look at what happened with the NES Classic editions that came online this week. So I was live on Kind of Funny Games Daily when the news broke. We were on air, live on Twitch when I got a breaking news alert about the NES Classic being back in stock on ThinkGeek.com.
Whoa.
There was back in stock specifically in these swag bundles. So what ThinkGeek did was they said, hey, we just happened to find some random NES Classic laying around. So they packaged them with a bunch of other ThinkGeek swag that you can get. The Piranha Plant Puppet, the Zelda backpack, Zelda tumblers, Mario puzzle, Tetris Light, all kinds of like video game stuff. There was like I think 6 or 7 different swag bundles. So they ranged in price from $140 up to $220, depending. This Mega Man helmet that I have was packaged in one of the bundles. But you could only get the console if you bought the bundle with all the swag in it. So you bet I bought one. So I was very excited to get one because I never got one in the initial run. But that sold out in less than an hour. Jeez. Like ThinkGeek put up the message. Everyone bum rushed their website, crashed their website. Their engineers thankfully got it back up and running very quickly, but they sold out within an hour. I mean, and that is for the console that came out over a year ago. Well, a little
Wow.
less than a year ago, I
yeah.
I'm
guess.
surprised I didn't hear about that at all. This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, because if you blinked, like, you missed it.
Yeah.
Like, they were online and then they were offline. And if I hadn't been live talking about the news in that moment with my computer open monitoring Twitter, I probably would have missed it too.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I'm trying to remain optimistic that Nintendo won't screw this one up. Nintendo, I love you. I just don't understand you sometimes. But I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, it's frustrating. But we have word now that the N64 is getting a classic too. So the leak of the
that one I want.
the patent and trademark.
Before I don't know if we're moving on now, but I want to talk briefly about Pokemon coming to the Switch.
Yeah, no,
This isn't
talk
anything.
about it.
This is your weekly Pokemon RPG Switch update.
That's exactly what this is, because this is not significant news. But during their financial report, Nintendo said that Pokemon Switch will be coming in 2018 or later, which we all know means it
later.
Later. 2020. If it's here by 2020, I'll be ecstatic.
I
But
think it'll be 2020.
Yeah,
It's got to be the year after.
you think so?
2021.
If they've been working on it, if they've been working, or
You mean the year
prior,
before?
If they've
2019.
been working on it already, and they're like, "Oh, Beach Dubs are working on a core Pokemon RPG," like, so it's got to be either next year or 2019.
Oh, okay. So
I don't think they'd wait that long.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Well,
That would be
either way,
miserable if they
I'm
did.
setting my expectations quite low, just because I don't want to have my heart torn in two when it's like, hey, delayed to 2022. Like you know the feeling.
Girl, it's okay. It's not
Kingdom
it's not
Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
You know the
It's okay.
Kingdom Hearts
It's gonna be
feeling.
fine. It's gonna be fine.
So on this podcast, I will talk about any and all mentions of the Pokemon Switch RPG. That's all. This was the news.
Oh well, I mean, we thought about talking about the absolute mayhem that happened at Pokemon Go Fan Fest, but by the time this podcast comes out, that'll be pretty old news. Everyone else has already covered it, but Britt has been playing again, so we'll talk about it in our next segment. So no need to touch on that. If you guys somehow did not hear that Pokemon Fan Fest kind of shit hit the fan, to put it mildly. It did. They refunded everyone's
Garbador hit
ticket
the
price. They gave people in-game currency. All in all, it was bad. They had to release the legendaries.
Release the legendaries.
Yes.
What else can we do?
It was a hot
Release the
hot mess.
legendaries.
Who would have thought when you get like tens of thousands of people together in the same area that your cell phone won't work? Oh, wait, everybody who's ever been to a convention ever. Come on.
True.
Get it
Yeah.
together, Niantic. Anyway, I think that's it for news this week. Ladies, is there something else you want to talk about? Did I miss anything? I mean, obviously there was plenty of other news, but I think this is what we wanted to focus on.
Got it.
All right. Cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. Clearly, Alexa's glass is empty. We must refill it for her.
I need to slurp a little more.
Stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back. Muted. Because we were... Welcome back, everybody. It's segment 2 of the What's Good Games podcast. Before we get into our hands-on portion of the show, I brought
Oh no!
a copy of Kingdom Hearts 2 by Alexa Ray Korea.
Yeah, I did a thing.
It's your book. It's your book.
It's my book. I did a book.
So congratulations on becoming a published author, my friend. Yay.
I told myself when I was little I wanted an ISBN number to my name before I was 30, an ISBN number being what marks you as like being a published author. And I got one, and I just turned 29, so it's perfect.
Will you autograph my book?
Sign it.
Yay.
And it's doing extremely well.
You could also
we might
write a
add.
heartfelt message to her if you
Going
want.
to very quietly talk amongst yourselves.
If you guys are interested in reading Alexa Ray's book, you can purchase it on Amazon.com and a variety of other booksellers. Boss Fight Books are the people who publish it. She will also have copies with her at PAX West. We have a panel, which we talked about last week on the show, that's Saturday, September 2nd at 5 o'clock p.m. is when our panel is going to be. She's going to bring some copies, and she'll also be doing book signings throughout the weekend.
I will.
So if you're going to be in Seattle at PAX West, please do let us know. Come and find us. Yeah. Don't smudge
Blowing
it.
that book.
You also have a signing coming up, right, in San Francisco?
Yeah, if you're in San Francisco, I will be at Green Apple Books on August 10th.
I love Green Apple books.
Yeah, and I will be there with Chris Kohler. They just announced Boss Fight
Yay.
just launched the Kickstarter for season 4, which is next year's or this year's run of books. And Chris, very good friend of ours, wrote a book about Final Fantasy V.
Chris Kohler.
Chris Kohler, the not the actual Final Fantasy V game, but he was involved when he was younger in the very weird, very crazy fan translation community of Final Fantasy V. And this was in a world before the internet became the internet that it is today. So it was much harder to connect with people, much harder to find translations, and much harder to get that source material. And I edited it. I've read it already. It is hilarious, and it's really, really good. And he'll be, I believe, reading a portion of it at that signing, and then that book comes out in October.
Excellent.
So please look forward to it. It's very good. But yes.
Yes, we love Chris Kohler. He's great. Well, congratulations on all the success. We're very happy for you here. And don't forget about us when you get like book famous, okay?
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Someday when I'm like, again, like we were talking about this earlier, when I'm like decrepit and old and wrinkly, I'll write the what's good memoir.
The true story.
True story.
True story.
On the other
There
side
was
of
lots
the
of
camera.
drinking and burping.
There was so much drinking. So much burping, mostly from me.
Yep.
So much burping.
No, we all do our fair share of burping. You don't get to hog it all, Steimer.
Oh, I'm not. I'm just today in particular. Yes.
You're very burpy today.
You are very gassy today.
I said burpy, you said gassy. I was trying to be polite, but that's okay.
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 So let's talk about some video games that we have gotten hands on with. So
Speaking of gassy.
Exactly. Alexa Ray and I got the opportunity to go to a press event that Bethesda held. They invited us to come and play Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. So part of this was the build that we saw at E3, and then there was a new section to play as well. Alexa Ray, what did you think of your time with Wolfenstein 2?
I really liked the wheelchair. So one of the demo sections was the wheelchair section. And I'm already not great at shooters. So being in a wheelchair made me even worse, which was great.
So this is at the very beginning of the game.
very beginning of the game when you're in the wheelchair.
Played Wolfenstein: The New Order. At the end of the game, BJ Blazkowicz is injured, but survives. Obviously, they made a second one, and so he starts this game injured as well. And it was a really interesting mechanic. So how does it play?
You have to find a certain elevator lift and get up there to reunite with another character. And you, in the wheelchair, you move like you're in a wheelchair. You have the quick go forward as you roll your wheel, and then you kind of slow down. And then
Are you a wheelchair raccoon?
I'm a wheelchair raccoon. I love it. I was a wheelchair raccoon. BJ the wheelchair raccoon. So you go really quick and then you stop, and it made me think the way that you move in that wheelchair makes you think a little bit differently about how you want to maneuver around these levels. And you can go downstairs, which is really fun, unless like me, you kept falling out of your wheelchair, and I'll get to that in a second. But you can't go back up because you're in a wheelchair, so you have to find lifts. So it makes you think before you ram down that staircase to shoot those Nazis that you see patrolling on the lower level. So you have to really you have to really consider, well, will my movement allow this? Like, is it better if I just maybe sneak around them and avoid them, or use there are these traps you can turn on this electrical trap that will essentially liquidate any zombie that, or not zombie. Why did I say zombie?
Because
Zombies, Nazis,
zombie
same
thing.
damn thing. So the Nazis run through. They'll run at you, and there are these electrical nodes all around the outskirts of this hallway. And if they run through it, they just get completely liquidated. And you can either use that, and you can take down 2 or 3 of them at once if they're running at you, or you can hide behind cover and shoot. But again, you can't really move too quickly because you are in a wheelchair. I kept falling out of the wheelchair. Andrea, I don't know if you had this problem.
I did not fall out of the wheelchair a single time.
I
also only went down one small flight of stairs. For the most part, I just avoided the stairs altogether.
How did you fall out of a wheelchair?
I was going a little too hard in the in the wheelchair. There was one section where you're on a conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt helps you get to a higher level. And along the way, you have the opportunity to shoot some Nazis like you do. And we got close to the top, and I turned to shoot, and I guess I went to move forward in a weird way. And not only did I fall out of the wheelchair, but both me as BJ and wheelchair fell down this conveyor belt, down, and then onto the floor. And I actually shot the 2 Nazis on that floor from me on the floor. So I couldn't move because I'm on the floor. So I shot them, and then I had to literally crawl to the wheelchair and pull myself back into it. And I really liked Wolfenstein's story, and I really liked the way that this picked that up, and I really liked them making that the mechanic. You don't wake up and BJ's like, oh, I'm totally whole again. I'm gonna go run around and shoot some Nazis. You're in this wheelchair, and I like when games do that. They throw a little bit of a wrinkle in there that's just enough of a wrinkle that you have to think a little bit differently about what you're doing, and you can't just run in guns blazing. I kept falling out of that wheelchair. It was great.
I liked that you fell out of it because I think you were just so overly confident after being wheelchair raccoon.
Oh, yeah.
That you were like, I got this. I know how to handle this wheelchair.
Well, and BJ as a character is superhuman in a way.
Very much.
And he's incredibly powerful. And just for people wondering, this is not the whole game, because the second part of the demo that we played,
You have
you're no longer in a wheelchair. You're standing up. Wait, what?
I said you have feet. Everyone laughed at me.
I mean, you have
feet in a
when you're in
wheelchair.
the wheelchair. They just are not
You're a real boy.
working. And so he's back to normal BJ in the second section that we played. And what I really loved about the first Wolfenstein and what, Machine Games did with it was the graphics were beautiful. The storytelling was really unique. It kind of had that Pulp Fiction vibe, and the world building really felt rich. And that's back. So in this second section, they show a little bit of the demo that they showed at E3, where you are inside Joe's Diner. One of the things we talked about at E3, one of our top 5 favorite things from E3 was, my pick was this replication of this diner that they had in the Bethesda booth, where this Nazi officer, this commandant, is getting a strawberry milkshake, and seeing the tension between him and the guy behind the counter, and how he comes up and approaches BJ and is like, I recognize you because your wanted posters are everywhere. So we got to see this little scene, but then we got to go, behind enemy lines and really go through a very hectic combat situation where you're on a train, like a subway train. We're taking these underground tunnels, trying to get to the, what was that, Oberkommando, I think it was called? This central place where a bunch of the Nazi leaders are carrying out their operations from in New Mexico by Area 51. So inside the United States, because the bulk of this game is set in the United States. And it was, it felt really good. Dual wielding is back. You can dual wield pretty much any weapon in the game, which is really crazy. The difficulty levels from the first game are back. I picked Daddy Don't Hurt Me, the one where I think he's got
Daddy,
the baby,
can I play?
The baby version.
The baby phase, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to just see as much of the level as possible and not have to worry about, dying over and over again.
Oh, so that's a difficulty level.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I've never played Wolfenstein. So
Oh,
what
it's
what
so
is
funny.
Okay.
Yeah, it's and
That's cute.
I'm thinking of the original game when he
Has the baby bonnet and the past there. Oh, yeah, that's back. That's back.
It's amazing.
And it felt really great. I mean, I don't think it feels like very different from the first one. Like sometimes when people get a sequel, they really want a departure from the first game. And this isn't wildly different. It just feels really nice, very crisp, very refined, very smooth. I really had a great time playing this game. I mean, I loved the first game. I'm definitely looking forward to when this game comes out, later this fall, October, I believe.
My only issue with the reboot that came out before this one, and I guess I don't necessarily think stealth when I think Wolfenstein, but the fact that they try and tout it as an option for you, and I found it just impossible. I was in a corner hiding in a dark corner under a train, and some dude across the map somehow found me, and I was like, what? No, like, I'm sorry. I know BJ's a big guy, but no, like, I'm hiding. I should be hidden, or you should give me an indicator of some sort on screen to let me know when people are seeing me or aren't seeing, like Skyrim. Something like where there's the eye, and I can tell when I'm in cover or when I'm not. Did they improve anything like that, Andrea?
So from what I played, the quick answer is not that I've seen, no. So there is a more robust skill tree this time around, so you can explore those options a little bit more in depth. I wouldn't ever call it an RPG in any sense. It still is very much a first-person shooter, but there is a little bit of wiggle room to play with how you build your character out and kind of how you approach those situations. I did feel, even playing on easy difficulty, that stealth here is very much you have to try really hard to be stealthy.
Tough.
Because, Wolfenstein, it's meant to go in guns blazing.
Yeah.
That's really the intended way to play this game. What they do have these officers, the commandants. If you can sneak your way to them and take them out first, that'll prevent them from calling an alarm to bring in, more reinforcements. But if you engage with even one person, the commandant calls the reinforcements right away. Even if you don't see that person like within your vicinity, which I found a little frustrating. I was like, hey, if this guy shoots one bullet at me and I'm able to like dispatch him really quickly, how is it that the commandant knows
That was
right
my
away?
one gripe from the
So
demo.
maybe that becomes clear later in the game or earlier in the game than we just missed it, but about like maybe they have some kind of technology that allows them to see kind of like the machines in Horizon Zero Dawn, where if you like hit one, they're like
watchers?
a network, all of them know. So I don't anticipate that being a thing. I anticipated being like the stealth is just not that
Just
great.
really
Right.
hard.
This is not a stealth game.
And that's fine, except for the fact that they do say publicly, like, you can play it that way. And like, can you?
I would need to ask their team, but I'm pretty confident in saying you cannot stealth your way through Wolfenstein.
You do
Not the
not
whole
come
way.
to the Wolfenstein for the stealth.
No, you come in for the dual guns, and I'm totally on board with that. But there were certain sections where I wanted to be a little quieter, and I felt like I really couldn't.
Right.
This is not so quiet.
No, that's a
game.
fair criticism. This really is not a game that you can stealth through.
Yeah.
So, it is a little weird why they put it in then, if you really
Yeah,
can.
that was kind of my thing. Like, why is this even?
You can stealth your way through certain parts of levels pretty easily. Other parts, it's like next to impossible. And like I said, once you tip off one guy, it's like the entire base is now gunning for you.
They have the world's best radio system. One radio goes down, and they all know someone's dead somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was our time with Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. We also played a bunch of other stuff this week. Britt, you have been playing some stuff. What would you like to talk about first?
I've talked about Secret of Evermore on here a little bit, so not too much to say. It's still a great, fun game. Highly recommend that you play it if you haven't, even though it's been out since 1995.
What are you doing?
I'm on an old school. No, I don't know what are you
doing?
Have you met Brittany? This is what she does.
I'm going through like a quarter life crisis. Like on my way here, I started Breath of Fire 2 on my 3DS. Dude, I don't know what's going on.
Girl.
I don't know. I'm video game pregnant or something. It's weird.
What?
No, like when you're pregnant. Apparently, when you're pregnant, things get out of whatever. I'm not going to go down this.
You've like, is there like a time anomaly or something happening here?
I don't know.
What's going on?
I'm overwhelmed. Okay, so what I will talk about is I'm preparing for the side eye, playing a lot of Pokemon Go.
This is not
I will
surprising.
refrain. I will
They've
refrain.
overhauled a bunch of the game. We've talked about it
refrain.
here on the
Old school,
show.
are
They've
you?
added, the raid battles and other things. The legendaries are out. So talk about what got you back in.
I really don't have nothing really specifically happened. It was just a nice summer day, and I think I was feeling kind of nostalgic from last summer when I would just do a lot of walking and spending money and playing Pokemon Go. And I was like, hey, it's 85. It's a lot warmer in Washington than it is in here. And it was 85 degrees in Washington. I'm like, hey, it's last summer. Let's go play some Pokemon Go. So off Jason and I go to the boardwalk, and I think it was in February they released 80 new Pokemon from Pokemon Gold and Silver, and I can tell the good thing is that they've added more Pokemon to the places what, Steimer?
Can you get a Grubbish?
No, I haven't seen one of those.
Wait, what did you call it?
Isn't it called a Grubbish?
It's Trubbish.
Trubbish,
Even
sorry.
I know that.
I'm sorry. I was thinking garbage. I was thinking
Garbador.
garbage.
There's a
Thank God
Garbador.
Alexa just
Trubbish
gave
and Garbador.
Steimer.
No, it's okay.
Damn.
But Grubbish, I like that. I like
Grubbish is
Grubbish.
garbage and Trubbish
Rubbish.
moved together.
It's like their
Right.
baby.
As the resident
Trubbish.
trash lady of this group.
You even wear a t-shirt
And a
on my
Trubbish.
Microsoft Paint drawings.
You
Yeah.
do.
So there's new Pokemon, which is great. And I did some of the raid battles. So we have a gym that's just down the street from our house. So a few times a day, we'll open up the app and be like, okay, do we have an Articuno? Do we have anything else that's awesome there? And there was a Vaporeon, and it was a 20,000 Vaporeon, a CP, which is very, very high. Generally, your Pokemon are about 1,000, and that's really strong. So this is obviously built to be taken down by a group of people. So off we go. We're still in our pajamas. It's 7:30 in the morning. So we drive down.
Christ.
Is anybody still
You're
awake?
driving down to play Pokemon Go in your pajamas.
Yeah, because it's literally a 5-second drive once you're going 50 miles an hour, which is the speed limit. It's a 5-second drive down the road, and it's this tree farm.
Do you live on the Autobahn? Where are you?
It's off of the major highway.
Yeah.
And so we get there, and we're the only two there. And, we always embarrass ourselves because we've done this many times. We go there, and we take down this Vaporeon, and it was a simple chat fest.
Wait, so it's you and Jason.
Just me and Jason taking down a 20,000 CP Vaporeon. And this is our
Okay.
first raid battle. And we're like, can we do this? We're just two people.
Two people generally can't do a raid
Yeah.
in any game, but
And-
they can do it in
But you
Pokemon Go.
could.
But we could, and we did. And so what happens is you do the raid, and it's just your same tap fest. And so you pick your 6 Pokemon that you want to go into battle with. Yes, Steimer. And you battle. And if your Pokemon faints, you can reboot. You can pick 6 new Pokemon. You can do that as long as you have a timer going. So we were able to do it without going through any other new Pokemon. So we did it with our 12 total Pokemon. And then it's okay, so this is a 20,000 Vaporeon. Let's take away roughly 10%. Now you have a 2,000 CP Vaporeon. Go catch it, which really isn't that good. So anyway, we caught it. Yay. And then maybe later that afternoon or the next day, I can't remember, we went downtown and there was an Articuno raid, which is one of the legendary birds.
That's the big one right
That's
now.
the big
Articuno
blue,
raid?
yeah. And it was a CP 37,000. And we're
That's a lot.
we got this. Totally humbled, asses
Just the
kicked.
two of you?
Just the two of us. Destroyed, completely and utterly destroyed. And
Did you put out a raid call or whatever it's called? I can't remember the specific term where it tracks other people.
you're thinking of a lure, and you put those on gyms.
My sister was talking about. So my sister also still hardcore plays Pokemon
Yes,
Go,
I'm a
and she
sister.
called me and started rambling about it, and I was just like, "Oh my, okay, I'm gonna record you when I come visit you."
So I
talking
don't.
about Pokemon
I don't
Go.
know about the ability to put out a raid call.
There was like a raid pass, or there was something where she was talking about
okay.
she was annoyed
Okay,
that
so
she would
one of
use
the
it.
right. So one of the new things is that you can now swipe when you get to a gym, and you can get items from a gym. And I think that's new. I'm pretty sure that's new. And you get a raid pass. You get one free raid pass per day, and that's what allows you to partake in the raids. If you participate in a raid and you completely fail, you have to buy another one. I think it's like $1. So there's no way in my knowledge to put out like, hey guys, we're about to take down an Articuno, help. But there are a lot of Facebook groups, and I know this because after we got completely demolished, within 5 minutes, a freaking convoy about 13 to 15 people all pull up, and they had been talking on a Facebook group.
Wait, in like vans? Did they like pull up and like jump out of a van? It's like, we got the Articuno guys.
I
Not
love
in
this
vans,
visual.
but in like
I know.
sedans and shit. It was fantastic.
Sedans.
And they're like, hey, yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, are you guys going to take down this Articuno? We said, yeah, we tried and failed. They said, ha, you noobs, you can't do that. And that was word per word.
They called you noobs.
They called
to
us
your
How
face?
old were these people?
And now this kid, to put things in perspective,
Kid.
Did you say, listen up, little bitch? I've spent $1,000 goddamn dollars on this game. I'm not no fucking
800, Andrea. 800.
You know what?
okay?
It's more impressive if it's 1,000. If they were an actual kid, you'd be like, you don't even know the concept of that much money.
No, he wasn't a kid. He was probably my age.
Oh.
Yikes.
And this dude has caught already 3 Articunos. And I think, and this might be wrong, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, I think it's like a 2% chance of catching an actual Articuno. Might be a little higher than that.
I've seen a lot of people
catching them by
I
throwing
don't
a
think it's
Pokeball
2%.
at them?
It's not 2%. Maybe it's the other one that's 2%.
Or defeating them in the raid.
What, the Loogie?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Loogie, because someone did
Wait,
data
is
mining.
it called Loogie?
No,
it's Lugia.
Lou the Lou thing, the guy from Pokemon Silver. I'm totally brain farting on the
Yeah,
legendary.
no, it is
L-U-G-I-A.
Lugia.
Is that, oh, wait,
Yeah.
is that the one from the movie? The second
spell it.
movie?
Maybe.
I saw
I
those
don't know.
Pokemon
Anyway,
movies.
so the 2% is probably not right, but I thought I read somewhere that data miners had found that it's a really, really low percentage. Anyway, so then we all like take on this Articuno and we tear it a new butthole, and it was fantastic.
Wait, why would you want a new Pokemon with a new butthole? Haven't you damaged it?
Tore it a new butthole.
You still want
That's
it?
good. So did you have to pay $1 to get a new raid pass to participate in the raid the second time?
Yes, I did have to pay $1 to participate a second time.
Brittany.
And so we defeated the Articuno, and then at that point, depending on how well you do during the raid and your participation and all that, you get these special white Pokeballs, and those are the Pokeballs you get to use when you're trying to catch the Pokemon, any Pokemon you defeat after a raid. So you have to defeat the Pokemon at the raid, and then you have to try to catch it.
Yeah.
So I only had 7 Pokeballs to try to get this
7 white Pokeballs.
7 white Pokeballs to get this Articuno. And I used all of my best items, the golden raspberries, which supposedly make it much easier to catch your Pokemon. Bullshit. And I lost all 7, and that was it. And it was very sad and disappointing. And they all drove away. They went to like a Fred Meyer or something. They were all there as a group. They were like raiding all evening.
So there are Pokemon Go literal gangs out there.
Yeah, the best catch rate, according to the Zero Game article, is 3%.
Okay.
Yikes.
So if that
Bye-bye.
kid, call him kid.
Can you bite the...
If he already has 2 or 3 Articunos, that goes to show you how like dedicated he is.
Only 2 or 3.
Only 2 or 3. But if that kind of percentage of a rate catch, like
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah.
He's done that 1,000 times. But can you buy the white Pokeballs, or do you only get them...
I did not see any way to catch the white Pokeballs. I believe the only way you get them is by defeating the Pokemon at the raid, and then you have to use those Pokeballs.
God dang.
And I don't know if they transfer over between raids. So if you let's say you have 7 Pokeballs, and then you only take 2 to catch the Pokemon, and then do you get the rest of the 5 for your next raid? I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're
But-
saying. It
yeah,
just
yeah,
gives you 7 balls.
Not always 7. It's dependent on certain factors. Anyway,
Yeah, I see what you're saying, though.
This is too difficult.
Well, apparently, according to an article released on Wednesday of this week, the developers increased the base capture rate for Articuno and the unreleased legendary birds Zapdos and Moltres, likely to help players catch them during their limited appearances in the game. So apparently this base capture rate, which we talked about being 3%, has been increased to, I don't know what.
To question mark
3.1%.
It's now 5%.
So,
You're welcome.
Anyway, I'm kind of playing. It hasn't hooked me as much as it did last summer, but I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Unfortunately, I kind of live in like a rural, I hate that word, rural area. And so I'm getting all the same Pokemon that I was kind of getting last summer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
It's now been increased to 3%. It was 2%.
Okay.
what
So it
the
was
shit?
2%.
So it's been increased from 2% to 3%. Let me
Okay.
clarify.
What are you doing?
Take your 1%,
What are you
noob.
doing?
Technically, that's a 50% increase.
Woo woo. So I'm back playing Pokemon Go. I have not spent $800. I spent probably close to like $40. But
Girl, $40.
I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, that's
I'm
value.
getting a lot of value for that money.
She's an adult.
No, if you've got the cash.
She earns her money.
I'm eating
Spend how you
ramen every
want it.
night, but it's okay.
I haven't had ramen in so long. Let's get ramen later. Okay.
Damn it. Now I want ramen.
So we have been playing some other stuff as well. Something that a few of us have played this week is Fortnite. So this is a new game from Epic Games. It is on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. This game has been in development for quite some time. It was originally announced at E3, I believe, 5 years ago. E3
It was a while.
2012, I think it was. In like a teaser trailer, and then we got to see it at Judges Week a year or two after that, and then they kind of went quiet on the game, and then bam, they're like, we're back at E3 2017, and now the game is out. You can play it. So, Steimer, explain a little bit about like what this game is.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of different things. So, number one, multiplayer game. Because Andrea and I were playing. Brittany doesn't want to play with us, so she
Fuck you.
did.
She apparently can't play with us online
It's
because
not
she has her
true.
notifications turned off, and
And
she
she
puts her
leaves her
phone
phone
in
away.
another room. So
She
she's
can't
just,
possibly remedy any of
she's
these
in
problems.
a black box in her video game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're somewhere playing old games. Or out playing Pokemon Go.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Old gamer.
Yeah. So Andrea and I played Fortnite, and so it's 4-player co-op. You each can have a different class that does slightly different things. So I played as a ninja for a little while. Were you mostly soldier?
Yes, I was, but I'm really excited about the Outlander class because I like going out and finding stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too. So basically, you have your own home base fort. It's a weird game because half the time you are destroying everything in the world because almost everything is
I love Minecraft. Ish. Very simple,
I mean,
simple Minecraft.
just in the sense that you build, I guess.
well, no, you destroy things and
But
you
you
get
also
resources.
break things down to get resources
Right.
and then use those resources to go and build things.
This is way less complicated than Minecraft, but yes.
It has that element, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say so. Because this is, it has, well, maybe just the bit we've played. Maybe it gets more complicated later. So don't quote me on that yet. But you're doing a combination of fighting and building. So it's sort of my brain has been a little bit inhibited by the alcohol, which was a mistake, and I'm sorry for that. But tower defense, that's the word I was looking
There
for.
you go.
So it's sort of like that. You are defending a position on the map. But before you even get to that, you have to like run around, grab stuff. You can build what were those towers we had? The like spotlight towers that told us where there's survivors you can go find on these maps. There's treasure chests that will just give you the goods because you only have a finite amount of stuff. So I ran out of traps at one point.
Uh-oh.
I couldn't help
You
you
seem
build
like a trap
anything.
person.
Yeah, so this is 4-player co-op. So at the beginning of each mission, you have to scavenge resources. So you use your pickaxe to break down rocks to get stone. You use your pickaxe to break down trees to get wood. You can break down cars to get steel, and then nuts and bolts, which will help you craft ammo. And so the steel, the rock, and the wood are like the 3 basic crafting materials that you use to create your fort. So you can, in order to build your fort, you have to build walls, build floors, build ceilings, and then on these walls and floors and ceilings, you can modify them. So you can make them out of any of these materials. So obviously, wood is the weakest, stone is the second weakest, and then steel is the strongest of the materials. So if you make a wall or a floor out of wood, and the husks, which are the monsters in the game, when they attack, they will easily destroy wood more than, say, steel, for example. So you have to be strategic and thoughtful about what materials am I going to scavenge the most of? How do I want to build my fort? Would I rather, because wood is obviously much more, it's found more plentifully throughout the map than, say, steel is, because that's like a man-made thing.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of pick and choose how you want to create your fort. And what's interesting about it, as from a co-op perspective, is that these different classes all have different benefits. Like the constructor gets a discount on spending resources, and then the outlander gets a bonus for finding things. The soldier has bonuses for fighting the husks, because what happens is there's a giant storm over the map, and at certain points you have this thing called an atlas, which is what you need to protect. So essentially you have an atlas, which looks kind of like an orb with it kind of looks like a globe.
It's always an orb.
Like an orb with like a metal ring
It is.
around it. And so you have to build your fort
looks like a
around the
mascot
atlas
relay.
to protect it, because the husks are trying to come and destroy the atlas. And so your whole goal is to kill the husks, protect the atlas until the timer runs out, in which case you are then like beamed up into space or wherever.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Nice.
And so each level is a little bit different. You don't know which direction at first the husks are going to come from. You have to open up your satellite and unlock that. You have to collect these things called blue goo throughout the map. And you use that glue to unlock upgrades for your entire team, whether it be a building upgrade or a health upgrade or an energy upgrade, because you have stamina in that game, so you can't sprint endlessly.
Is it
for
glue
example.
or glow?
Oh, it's glow. You're right. Yeah.
GLO.
GLO. So thank you for that correction.
Got you.
And it's, it has a very addictive quality to it. And I love tower defense games. And I also love co-op wave-based games like Horde Mode and Gears and other games that do wave-based co-op. And so it's really scratching all of the itches that I really want in that kind of a game. And we haven't really gotten to spend as much time with it at the taping of this podcast as we will have by the time it comes out, because Epic Games is coming to the studio for an exclusive stream, which, as I mentioned, by the time this video goes live, the stream will have happened and we're going to have them in here and ask them a bunch of questions. But so far, I've been really enjoying my time. They have a pretty diverse set of characters from what we've seen. There's many different types of characters within each class. There's different types of survivors in each class. There's
a lot of
a
stuff
squad.
going on.
It's almost like there might be a little too much going on.
Because you've got the main heroes, then you have defenders, then you have survivors, and each of these people, they're essentially cards, right, that you can slot into different things,
Right.
And each card has a different value and rarity and all that kind of jazz. So I managed to get, I think I was playing with mostly like a blue level card, which is decent, better than was it green? Gray, and then green, and then blue.
No, it's
then
gray,
purple.
blue, purple, isn't it?
No.
Or maybe I never got green ones.
Oh, I think
Eh.
it's essentially those colors in some sort of order.
Colors
and like every video game,
I
right?
think it's gray, green, blue, purple. I think that's the way it is.
Well,
me
I
look.
liked
Let
her
me-
a lot.
let me
I'm gonna
look.
say that she's better than she is, maybe. But I got this really cool looking character, and I called her Crash Bandicoot. But she was like, because she had Crash in her name, and she had like just baller outfit, and really rad hair, and I was like, oh my god, she looks so cool. I love her.
And that's who you are.
But then there was another person in our party who had. Maybe you can explain the bear turret. So he was able to my specialty as this ninja was a smoke bomb and a double jump, which the double jump was awesome. But this other person had a bear turret, like a bear robot that would come out, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And he would just say that he would say lines like, "You are not a bear," and like just fire like bullets at people. And then he'd be like,
They're bears.
I was a bear. But he says it sort of sad, and I'm like, oh, that makes me like,
Wait, was he once like a real bear?
I don't
and
know.
Then they made him into the Terminator
This
bear.
guy-
kind
dark.
of. That's kind
The
of what.
Barinator?
Yeah.
Dun,
The
dun,
bear-
dun.
Barinator.
No,
wanna be a Terminator
so I
bear.
played the tutorial, and then I did the first mission after that, and I played co-op with Jason, and it was just the two of us. Sorry, guys. I still love you.
No,
It's okay.
you don't, because you
We
would have
forgive
played.
you.
What did we play? Oh, we played Destiny, and you were playing with Jason, but you wouldn't play with us.
Sorry for spending time with my fiance. Damn it.
four
You spend
players.
time with him. You live with him. You can spend some time with us. That's all
Also,
I'm
he can
saying.
play with us too.
Yeah, we can all play together.
Done.
Okay, now that we got that settled,
Got that verbal
continue.
commitment. So anyway, so he and I also played through Orcs Must Die together, and I don't know if anyone else has played that, but it's super. Have you played it? Orcs Must Die too. No.
No,
It's-
we played something. What did we? No, we played a different game together. You and I.
And that one's just pure tower defense and wave after wave. So, and we had a blast playing that together. So this was really fun. Like you were saying earlier, though, there's a lot to this game, and I think we spent a few hours with it. And after the end of the few hours, I was completely brain dead because I'm trying to learn all the mechanics, and the game doesn't really teach you how to do everything and what everything is for. So I think it's going to require a lot of trial and error, which is totally fine because I think the more you give me to dink around with, the better, because that means I can get really strategic with it, and that's really fun when I'm playing with people to like collaborate and work on like strategies that work and complement each other. So I'm really excited to play more of it. I think it would be fun for all four of us to play because I think it supports four squads, four
was
squad
right there,
mates.
it's
Do you
not
like
me.
tower defense games, Miss Alexa, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'll play with you guys.
Okay, yay!
I
It's
just
not-
want to say
tower
that I was
defense
right.
isn't
There
easy
is no
enough for me.
green. There's
You
gray,
are-
blue, purple, and orange.
You're right. I don't know where I thought green. I don't know where I pulled green from.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm colorblind.
But no, I'm excited to play more and learn the ins and outs. I think it can be a really, really
Now look up
fun
the bear.
cooperative. The controls are a little
Bearinator.
interesting. I would say just, if you're going to go play Fortnite, just give yourself maybe 3 to 4 hours before you really feel super comfortable. Maybe not that much.
Maybe even longer.
Yeah.
We're still kind of in the tutorial
There's just
thread.
so much happening. So you get
there's
these
also
loot
giant
boxes.
skill trees.
Yeah, so the skill tree is really confusing. I'm gonna have to spend some time really studying it and looking at it because I do like how when you go to unlock something and it's not unlocked yet, it'll show you where in the skill tree it is and where you need to go. But I mean, how you get there and why you want to get there is not yet clear to me. And I mean, we haven't put in, enough time yet for a game that clearly has a lot of deep strategy. But I think that's what's really exciting about the potential for this game is that I can see how many hours and hours and hours I could put into this game and really enjoy it. And the thing that we didn't get a chance to see that I saw previously, I saw a really nice montage video from the team at Epic was just how crazy the building of these forts gets, because you can build stairs. So imagine not even imagine, look at some of the cool stuff that people have built in games like Fallout when you're talking about base building and Fallout 4 and building these really incredible structures. You can do stuff like that. I mean, obviously you're not like decorating them like you did in Fallout, but imagine
decorating them
building,
with
like
traps.
you got the walls and then you can put stairs in and then you can put another level in and then you can, do really creative things in building your fort around your atlas. And your fort is persistent. So every time you build upon your base fort, that fort carries with you into like the next mission.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Your main base that you name at the beginning, that's yours forever.
Would you name your fort, Britt?
Uh-oh. What did you name your fort?
Butt Sexville.
What? Britt?
Not surprised, but also what?
Also, I wonder if you're
I'm
going to get
10.
moderated.
I'm
Butt
10.
sex,
No, not
Phil.
yet. It's a story for another
I don't
time.
know.
There's a story behind it. It's just a very long story. And we don't have-
Somebody that we know that plays the game named their base Cumtown. And I was like, why do people do these things?
We have awful friends.
Redlandia, which I thought was a very nice and semi-clever
PG.
name.
What was it?
Redlandia?
Redland, her hair's red.
Oh, yeah, that's cute.
Redlandia.
Mine's the mansion because I'm Governor Marley and governors live
You
in
guys
mansions.
are too mature.
Oh my god.
Well, I am aware that it is an online game, and I wasn't sure if other people could see the name of my place, which they can, by the way.
So what?
So
I mean,
as somebody who's been a former community manager, I'm very hyper aware of things like you, people like
things
you.
like you,
Let me be me.
things like you.
like girl.
It's all right. It's okay.
I'm just gonna sip.
Take
my
a
juice.
sip out of that juice.
Holy wow.
All right. So, anyway, this game has a lot of potential. We clearly need to put more time in. We can maybe check back in with this game next week or the week after we've gotten to play a little bit more. If you guys missed the stream yesterday and you are interested in checking us out, checking us play with the dev team, I should say, and you want to learn more about Fortnite, we will have the stream archive up on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/whatsgoodgames. So I think we kind of maybe need to put a pin in this until we get a little bit more information and can speak a little bit more authoritatively about our time with Fortnite. But Alexa Ray, you
Hello.
have been playing Final Fantasy XII the Zodiac Age.
Yeah. So okay,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
My. All right. Okay. All right.
Compose thyself.
My disdain for Final Fantasy XII is well documented. I really, our unnamed producer just chuckled.
That's my sister's favorite Final Fantasy is 12.
It is. People loved it. People loved it. Like it was critically acclaimed. Everyone was like, "This is so freaking great."
I didn't love it.
I didn't love it either. Final Fantasy XII, the story is a really like awful, shallow ripoff of Star Wars. I love Star Wars.
So like Titanfall 2's campaign.
No.
But Titanfall was less shallow. Theirs was better.
So the thing about Final Fantasy XII, Star Wars, it's basically like princess on the run, The Empire is the name of the enemy. It's literally the Empire. There is a Cloud City. You play, the main character is like I'm gonna be something someday like guy. There's a Han Solo character. There's a Chewbacca character, except she's a sexy bunny lady.
Then that's not a Chewbacca character.
The plot, she's the animal companion.
Is she a co-pilot?
Yes. She's his co-pilot.
Dang, I was gonna blow a hole in the argument.
And she fights with a bow and arrow. Chewbacca has the crossbow. It's like the same thing. The game is Star Wars in a weirdo Final Fantasy skin. And every interview with the developers where people are like, so what do you think about people saying it's like Star Wars? The developers are like, we were unaware of Star Wars. Yeah, fucking right.
Oh,
You
no,
were
that never
unaware.
works.
You were
unaware
You
of Star
can't
Wars.
be. No,
So-
there's no one on planet Earth that is unaware of Star Wars unless they just were born yesterday.
So
Like
maybe
literally, like out
they
of
probably
the womb
know.
in the last 24 hours. Maybe they don't know.
Babies are born these days and their parents go, let me tell you about the Star Wars. Like that's
they
Here's the
swaddle
Star Wars
them
onesie.
in Star Wars blankets.
let me tell you about Han Solo and Chewbacca. So it's a skin of Star Wars, and like, okay, that's great. All the characters I feel like were very shallow and weird, and I did not like the systems. Like, I love that the game implemented some really difficult boss battles. I'm a sucker for boss battles. I love them. But it had a system called the Gambit system, in which you could set it up so that all of your characters had an automated response to running into an enemy. So they would automatically attack, automatically use certain spells depending on the elements of the enemy or whatever. If an ally fell below a certain health percentage, they would automatically cure them. Like, you could set them up to do that. And the way that this was set up, the way that you set up the skills of your characters was a license board, which I hated. You couldn't equip anything, learn anything without a license. You needed a license to wear a hat. That's not a good game to me. You couldn't wear a hat without a license. You had to get the hat license if you wanted to wear a hat.
This is amazing.
So anyway, it was a giant, and it was a board, like a big, like a chessboard where you just, you claimed a tile for individual characters, and anyone could learn anything. So anyone could have white magic and use swords and wear hats and do whatever. So you could, and I have done it, and many people played it the same way. You could set it up where everyone was a tank, or everyone was a healer, or everyone was a support or whatever, and you would send them into battle as you were running, and you could let the game, you could literally put the controller down, walk away, pet your cat, go eat dinner, do whatever you have to do, and they would automatically fight based on the circumstances that you set up in those gambits. So you didn't have to play them. You could set it up for giant boss battles so that you weren't sitting there grinding away, making your decisions on the fly, and it's all real time. It's not turn-based. So you could just walk away and let it fight these big battles for you. And I didn't really like that, because I play these games because I want that strategy. I want to feel like I'm going up against impossible odds. And if the game can literally like circle jerk itself, I'm not into it. We used to set it up so after every battle, I played this game with a friend, and we would set it up so everyone would automatically heal each other after every battle, and we called it the Kirkle jerk, the circle jerk of cure. So we had it set up,
jerk.
the Kirkle jerk. Yeah. So we set it up so that literally it's no fail, nothing. Final Fantasy XII, and I played Final Fantasy XII to 100% completion. I got the stupid Zodiac spear. I fought Zodiark, the ultimate optional boss. I did everything, and I still went, eh. So a version of the game came out in Japan called, it was the International Job Class System version, and we never got it until now. That's what this HD remake is. And Final Fantasy XII is set in the world of Ivalice, which is the world of Final Fantasy Tactics, most notably. And they implemented in Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age in North America, a job class system where instead of having access to that entire license board, every character you have to commit to a job, and they have to stick with it and level it up, and then later in the game you can pick and equip a second job, like a secondary job, kind of like how you do in Bravely Default, where you have the main job and the sub job. And I no longer, and I've been playing it, and I no longer can blindly just circle jerk my way through these games. I have to sit there and make decisions on the fly. The gambits no longer can just carry you through. You have to actually think about it. And in some of the bigger boss battles, not being able to have all these tanks just hitting at once because you've picked certain jobs for certain people and you can't switch them to all being tanks just for this one battle. I had to pick and choose my my party carefully in who I used. And it's added a little bit more you have to pay attention more. And the thing that I disliked the most about Final Fantasy XII's gameplay has been rectified for me by implementing this job class system. So I think I'm going to play Zodiac Age all the way through and try all those optional bosses and finish it, because this game to me actually feels like the Final Fantasy games that I know and love, and not this weird Star Wars ripoff that masturbated when I walked away from it.
So many sexual references.
I mean,
I don't understand why that had to happen.
It's good. And if you haven't played Final Fantasy XII yet, this is the version you want to play. I think this is the version you want to play.
And if you have played Final Fantasy XII and you walked away feeling like I did, and it sounds like you did, you would recommend replaying it. Fresh mind. Just go into it. Okay.
Fresh mind.
That's what she said.
Ignore the weird Star Wars ripoff.
How do you think the people that really love the game are going to feel about it?
So I've talked to a bunch of people. I have a bunch of friends back home that loved Final Fantasy XII. They love it, love it, love it. And they feel similarly like they got, they feel like they got the same game, but an entirely new game. Like, it's one small tweak where it just limits what you can do with your jobs and what you can have each character do. So it makes the gameplay almost entirely new. The tweak is just enough of a tweak that it makes it feel fresh. So I have friends back home that are replaying the whole game from start to finish, and they love it, and they love playing it this way. Like the same people that play a game like Fire Emblem on normal and then on hardcore difficulty where there's permadeath. You play that same game 2 different ways, and you get 2 entirely different experiences and an entirely different challenge. So they're really liking it. I feel better about it. About the gameplay, I'm still kind of really annoyed about the story, but I guess I can deal with sexy bunny Chewbacca.
She is sexy though.
To deal with, she's very hot. She's very hot. They rendered her butt so lovingly. It's like the most lovingly crafted butt I've ever seen in the Final Fantasy series.
Does she squat though?
Yeah. She's wearing like 8-inch heels.
Oh,
her
God.
foot's like this.
Oh wow!
I don't understand.
So she squats
how
like
walking
every
it.
day on just
That's
her
part of the
heels.
fantasy of it all.
Everyone in
The
Final Fantasy
final
squats.
fantasy of it all.
Everyone squats. Final squat fantasy. Everybody squats in Final Fantasy games. But it's, I'm liking it. I love Final Fantasy Tactics. It's one of my favorite games ever because you have that job class system, and having that in this game is really nice. And also it just looks better than it did in 2006. One of the characters has these abs or whatever, and then in the previous game, they looked like they were airbrushed on. Like, they very much looked like they were just like someone did like a little airbrush.
PlayStation 2.
And now the abs look generally a little more like abs.
Some shadows.
The shadowing is really the shadowing looks really nice.
Okay.
Also, like, as much as I hated the story, the world of Ivalice and the environments and everything are very beautiful. It's a very pretty thing to look at, and they did a really good job remastering it. And they also reorchestrated like most of the soundtrack. That soundtrack, for as much as I didn't like the game, is one of the better Final Fantasy soundtracks in the series.
Okay.
And it just sounds really excellent in this new version. So if you haven't played Final Fantasy XII yet, play this version. I'm going to try and play it through to completion and see how I feel about some of those bigger, shittier boss battles with this new system. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds excellent.
Does it? Play it with me. Play it with me.
With
Play a Final
conviction.
Fantasy
You
game
know
with me.
how I feel about Final Fantasy.
I know, but I don't want you to play with me.
Okay.
She'll play with us in multiplayer, Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, yeah. Let's go on a leg of a quest together.
Let's just drive around.
But
in
how
the
many
car.
legs?
3 legs.
3-legged race.
Up to 3 legs.
I will play Final Fantasy with you at some point.
Play with me.
Very non-committal answer.
Yep.
So, we probably should wrap this segment up. It's been very long, but I know that both Britt and Steimer have played a couple other games. Did you want to talk about Kingsway and Splatoon 2? You want to wait and play more?
I
and
will
talk about
wait.
them next
I want to
week?
play more before I
Yeah,
discuss.
I've only gotten to play a few hours of the single player, so yeah, I'll definitely wait on that. But
so we will talk about those next week. You will hear about Splatoon 2 and Kingsway. That is from Adult Swim Games. So we're going to close out segment number 2 and head in to segment number 3 when we come back. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
She ate fruit.
Be careful. Fruit can be dangerous.
Okay.
It's dangerous to go alone when you eat fruit.
Yes, take this piece of fruit. Okay, so this is the third segment of the show, and in true fashion, it kind of, free flows. It changes week to week. And this week, we got a couple pieces of reader mail that we wanted to go over. If you guys ever want to reach out to us, talk to us about something we said on the show, ask us a question, maybe bring up a topic that you would like to hear us discuss, let us know. You can email us at contact@whatsgoodgames.com. You can also write to us on any of the social media platforms that we are on. So that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can also just go directly to our website at whatsgoodgames.com. So please do, reach out. Let us know what you're up to, what you think of the show. So Melina wrote to us after we discussed on the show last week about the different ways to communicate in-game. Steimer and I were talking specifically about communicating in a public space in MMOs in relationship to Destiny 2, the beta that we were playing. And so she wrote into us to kind of add something to the conversation. So I'm going to read her letter. It says, "Hi gals. First off, let me say that I absolutely love the show and I was so excited when this awesome union was announced. I've followed Christine and Alexa for a while now and it's been wonderful getting to know Brittany and Andrea through the show. It's definitely one of the highlights of my week. In the last week's episode, there was some talk about Destiny and voice chat and I'd like to add a little to the conversation. Smiley face. When I was a little girl, I was diagnosed with Broca's aphasia. I can understand speech, read, and write easily. However, my ability to speak is basically non-existent. I grew up a PC gamer and EverQuest was my bridge into online gaming. It may seem strange, but that experience was one of the first times in my life where I was able to communicate with other people in real time without improvisational sign language. Most people don't know ASL and fewer still have the patience to deal with it. This led me to love MMOs. The freedom to speak, in quotations, to people was something I've never experienced before. Of course, things changed, and with World of Warcraft and the rise of programs like Ventrilo and TeamSpeak, my inclusion began to shrink. Luckily, I made a group of friends that stuck with me through new games, including shooters. I can shift tab to Steam chat faster than some people can hit their push-to-talk key. The reason for all this clunky exposition is to say that I love when games or game overlays give me the option of being able to quickly text chat. Sometimes built-in functionality like Overwatch isn't quite detailed enough or what I need to say at the moment to be part of the team. One game that does this exceptionally well on console is Final Fantasy XIV. It has traditional PC-style chat window that can be easily accessed. When highlighted, you can quickly select phrases from nice to meet you to have stuff to do, gotta go, to defeat this one first with a few presses of L1, R1, and X. They even auto-translate to English, French, Japanese, and German depending on the player's language setting. I think it's the best example of a chat system on console, and I really hope more games take a look at it for inspiration. Thanks for taking the time to read this mail. I appreciate all the hard work you guys have done to create What's Good Games. Thank you, and I hope to be listening for many years to come. We do too, Melina.
That was really insightful.
Yeah.
So this is a really interesting piece of mail that she sent, and it's interesting from on a couple different perspectives. First, thank you for sharing, your condition with us and your experience with that condition. I think a lot of times when we think about, gamers that have disabilities or handicaps of some kind, we don't necessarily really think about what that means in a practical sense. Yeah. I've had the pleasure of working with Steve Spawn and Mark Bartley at the crew at Able Gamers, which is a fantastic charity that does work to help get video games into the hands of people, or the feet or the mouths, whatever they are playing with or are able to play with, using non-traditional input methods. And, they help people game, and their motto is so everyone can game. And I think that she and her condition kind of speak to a community that maybe has been underserved. Strike that, not maybe, they have been underserved. So thank you for highlighting this and bringing this to light, because we have friends of ours that develop video games and that work at publishers and developers that listen to the show, and hopefully at least one of them, if not more of them, have heard your story and say, hey, maybe that's something that we haven't contemplated putting in our game. Maybe we should put in easier push-to-text options in our game. And that's something that, Steimer, you said that you were lacking in Destiny.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously I have a different reasoning for it, but I do think that it's a great option. It's something that if you aren't necessarily comfortable going into voice chat with people you don't know, having a variety of good options is great. Like I loved her example of a game that did it well, because I haven't really touched Final Fantasy XIV, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. This just being another, so I'm kind of like, maybe I should have played that game.
No, I mean, absolutely. I think that, there's definitely more people making bigger strides into ways for people to communicate in game, but there's still, a ways to go. Britt, how do you prefer to communicate, or what's the easiest way for you to communicate when you're playing, a public or MMO style game?
I don't.
You just don't talk to people at all?
No, no.
She doesn't play those games.
No, I do. I've played.
I wasn't sure if you were saying you don't like. I just don't play those games.
No. So I mean, I played Destiny. I've played World of Warcraft. I've played Guild Wars. I've played Final Fantasy XIV. I've done a lot of the online games, and I think maybe you and I kind of feel the same. Like, it's not that I don't want to talk. It's just I also kind of don't want to talk at the same time. It's like I want to participate and I want to be able to hold conversations, but I don't want to actually have to speak to them. I don't like that pressure. I make sure I turn off voice chat whenever I can. I think does Fortnite have voice chat? I don't know.
We were using Discord.
You were using Discord.
Yeah, there's text chat. It was because we were playing with people who were both on PC and PS4 because there was crossplay in that game.
Well, the real reason we did Discord is because my headset's broken.
Well, the point I was making is
that also. I was trying to save you from having to say that.
First thing I do is I always make sure, because it gives me a sense of, I don't get anxious, but it almost gives me, I think, what I would call anxiety, because I just the pressure of like having to hold a conversation and talk to people I don't know. So long answer to your question is I typically try not to. I prefer to stay anonymous and just kind of enjoy my experience, and I don't like the feeling of being like judged or pressure or any of that sort of thing.
What about you, Alexa?
I stopped playing online multiplayer games entirely because my friends kept muting me.
What? Your friends kept muting you?
Friends, quote,
I'm
or
like,
real
you know
friends?
me. I'm like a chatty, like whatever.
Chatty Cathy,
and I like, derping around and whatever. And my friends, I found out the last time I played an online game was with friends back home. We played the first Star Wars Battlefront. And like Palpatine came in the room and I hadn't seen him yet in the game. And I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my God, Palpatine's here. Because, I'm weird and whatever. And I'm like talking to them or whatever. And they just muted me.
That's sad.
Those were
and I was like,
friends.
guys, what the hell? Yeah. So I don't really play many online multiplayer games anymore. So I don't really have the opportunity to like chat with anyone. I'm a lone wolf now.
But that's what, but
the world has abandoned me, so I've abandoned it.
The sadness aside, the thing that I'd mentioned though before is like for me, text chat is a more accessible version for people I don't know. So would you like agree with that? I'm assuming you wouldn't. You wouldn't want to hop into voice.
No. I used to only do when I played online games. I only used text chat. I would just prefer like not to use voice chat, and also it was just easier for me to type than it was to speak because everyone's always talking over each other most of the time. So that was the easier route. But
yeah, text chat is definitely my preferred method of communication as well. Clearly, any female out there who listens to this show, including the females in this room, who have gone into voice chat in an online PvP or even a PvE space, have experienced some form of unpleasantness. I'll leave it at that. By being in a voice chat. I mean, even us when we were streaming Friday the 13th the other day or a couple weeks ago.
Is there a girl in here?
There was
Are you a girl.
I mean, it was not only that, but there were really young people in the chat, and sometimes it gets a little weird, having that interaction with other people, like voice to voice, without even having to have eye contact. Being able to read body language and kind of connect those things together, and that's where text chat can really make it a little bit smoother. And one of the games, obviously, that I play a lot of that has text chat options is Paragon. A lot of people who play on PC that also has PC and PS4 crossplay. And when you're in the lobby, you can pretty much chat whatever you want. I mean, Epic has censored a bunch of words. So if you put up something that's on the censored list, it just comes up as heart emojis, which I think is kind of funny.
That's cute.
Nice.
But in game, there's like quick text chat options. There's like a menu of stuff, and it kind of makes it, you know, a little bit more enjoyable to be able to communicate with your team. But it also can be really terrible if someone keeps spamming good job, good job, good job, good job when you make a mistake. And it's like, hey,
GG.
no, like it literally says good job with an exclamation point.
Wow, that's rude.
Generally, you're supposed to use that when somebody makes like a great kill or a nice support move or something. But let's say like you get a teammate killed, or you get yourself killed, or you let a tower go down or something, and someone uses it sarcastically.
The world is a terrible place.
It can turn on you pretty quickly.
Right, and that's just it. Like, I like to play video games to escape and unwind, not deal with a-holes that are going to abuse the text or whatever system it is they have in place. So
that's why I don't play online games.
Yeah.
I cloister myself in the dark.
But
and play Final Fantasy.
There is good out there. I just want to tell people that, because like that, you know, and I talk about it a lot, but I do think Guild Wars 2 has one of the nicer communities around. There's obviously toxic people. There are toxic people everywhere. But I found them just, everybody there is super willing to help you if you ask a question.
Yeah, I mean, of course there's good everywhere. You know, it's just sometimes, you know, you don't want to deal with the bullshit.
No, it's true. Sometimes it's hard to have faith that you're going to have a positive experience after having a negative one. You know, there's kind of like the old adage that like 10 compliments don't, you know, outweigh one, you know, insult, and that negative remark will stay with you even after you get lots and lots of positive feedback. The negative thing just somehow just never leaves you, which is, you know, unfortunate about the way that we communicate with each other as a species. But I love, you know, Melina's story and how it gives us a new perspective on in-game chat and gives props to games that do it well. And hopefully we'll see more games that have PvP elements and use voice chat as an option to maybe provide more text options for people who can't speak and who want to have that voice and want to be part of the team. And, you know, I think it's really great that she gave us a couple that were really great. So if you also have these issues, you know, maybe, you know, you can check out Overwatch. You can check out Final Fantasy XIV, or you can check out Paragon. And maybe Destiny 2 on the PC version will implement some better chat options.
They better. Otherwise, that's a total missed opportunity, and I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Another piece of reader mail comes from Scott. He says, "Hello, what's good, peeps? My question for you is this. Are there any video games that you only dig out under certain circumstances? For example, whenever I was sick as a child, I would always end up playing Harvest Moon for some reason. Any similar examples from the host? Games you play when you're sad, you're mad, you're sick, over the moon? Love the show. Thanks, Scott." Thank you, Scott. So this is an interesting question. Britt, you clearly have something to say.
As you were reading that, I was thinking, and whenever there's like a lot going on or it's a stressful time in my life, Harvest Moon, nowadays Story of Seasons, is always my go-to game as well, because everything in that game is just so damn happy. There's nothing bad going on. It's just you and your farm and your animals and your freaking crops and the person you're trying to woo, and that's your life. And it's happy music. It's always like cheerful and bright. And that's definitely the game that if there's anything ever going on, it's like, I want to escape. That's the game I go to. Good choice. Skolte.
Steimer?
For the most part, with his reference to being sick, if I'm sick, I don't play games. I watch TV. Because I usually
need something passive.
Yeah, exactly. For me, games can be too active. Especially, you know, it depends on how I'm sick. But for the most part, I just tend to not even. I watch Gilmore Girls on repeat. Which is
what?
But
like, how many times have you watched the series front to back? You don't want to admit it?
I don't know.
Or you don't know?
I don't know, and I don't necessarily watch them front to back. I like to skip around.
Okay.
So I usually just pull it up on Netflix and be like, yeah, that episode. You know, like kind of Russian roulette it, just see where I land. But yeah, so for me, if I'm feeling ill, I usually go to passive entertainment. If I'm feeling stressed or whatever, a good relaxation game that I like is very similar to Harvest Moon, Viva Pinata.
I knew it.
Now, that being said, I don't tend to even necessarily, like, I don't know. I'm not a person who I'm stressed out, I'm going to go play a game. Like, that's just not what happens in my brain. If I'm stressed, again, I tend to go towards more passive. If I was going to play a game, it would be something Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, or Viva Pinata. But that's not usually where I default. I usually default towards watching something that feels familiar. like old movies that I really enjoy. My Cousin Vinny, one of my favorites, like that kind of stuff. And then I feel better. And then I can go play games again.
What about you, Alexa Ray?
Oh my God. This question, I saw it on the docket before we recorded today, and I went into my like super deep thinking hole.
Well, if you need another minute.
No. I totally good. So I tend to gravitate towards the same video game when I just feel like nothing. I don't want to say when I feel like nothing is like going right, but when I'm just having a tough time in general. Mm-hmm. As an example, I've had like a really weird year. I found out I had like an immune disorder, and that's why I'm getting sick all the time. I have an recurring injury that's like keeping me down from certain things. I got laid off in the spring, and I've just been like, oh man, this is like really awful. And for the past like 10 or so years, I would always go back to this same game because no matter what happened in my life, I know I could go somewhere else to escape to another world that was infinitely weirder, dumber, and in cases shittier, that would help me sort of reorder the pieces of my actual life and just clear my head so I can come back to reality, I guess, with a more like, okay, this isn't so bad. How do I tackle this attitude? And that game is Final Fantasy X-2.
Really?
Which is weird.
I was not expecting that.
I know. I played that game at a time in my life when I was like 14 or whatever. I was just discovering who I was as a young adult. So like the Alexa now like started blossoming, unfortunately, when she started playing Final Fantasy X-2, which is kind of sad, but also weird. I don't know. So I played that game, and that's been through playing that game. I was, going through that transitionary period where you go from being like a kid to like a teenager. And I was thinking about, the life ahead of me and like making the friendships that would stick with me for the rest of my life and figuring out what I wanted to do with my life and like what kind of work I wanted to do or to go to college, all of that. So that game for me at that time was my escape from, okay, I don't want to think about this right now. Everything is going weird. I want to go somewhere that's infinitely weirder and kind of weird, and I can just lose myself in it. And I think the reason that I keep returning to it over 10 years is because I know what to expect at this point. I know where to get the secret treasures. I know where to get the weird mascot outfit. I know what boss battle is coming. I know how to defeat them. I've played it so many times that to me it is like walking through a dance. I know what to expect, and I know what's going to be there waiting for me on the other side. But it's something I can semi-shut off while I play it, but still enjoy. And when I come out, I can be like, okay, I've done this thing. It's like working out. It's like a cathartic couple hours. And I can go back to the real world and say, okay, I'm not, changing outfits in the middle of the street, and I'm not fighting giant monsters, and like all my friends aren't like totally fucked up and weird. So I can do this, and I can get into my shit and solve my problems. So to clear my head and to just make myself feel better when I feel like, oh, I can't deal with this anymore, I play Final Fantasy X.
So was it more of an escape or more of a this world is far shittier than my current world? Or did you resonate with anything in the game? Like what was it?
It's a little bit of both. The familiarity of this other world is what I guess, and I know how to work that world. Mm-hmm. Here, in the real world, everything, is unexpected. Things get thrown at you. There I know how everything works. I know exactly what I have to do. So I go and I complete my missions and I go, okay, I did it. I know I can do it here. I guess I can do it here. Also, that world is just super freaking weird. That story is so bad. I really hated the story in 10-2. I thought it was bizarre and weird. But I identify with the main character, Yuna, in sort of that she runs around solving everyone else's problems and sort of puts her in this situation of like, I'm going to put off what I have to deal with, which is the loss of, this person I love, and my world is totally changing. I'm just not going to deal with it, and I'm going to go hand out balloons to children and fight giant monsters and play chess for hours, which is kind of like what you do in that game. And I just like that idea, and I can't get on like an airship now and like go do it here, but I like that game is bizarre and simple, and I know what to expect from it. So it's sort of like, it's like my meatloaf of video games.
So if it had been any other game at the time that you had played, would that game be Final Fantasy X-2 to you? So do you think it was just a coincidence, or do you think it was the game itself? Like, that's what I'm wondering.
I don't really know. I think it was just the perfect storm of both, because another game that I replayed around that time that also I dig out when I'm like, I just need something to get me through today is I play Final Fantasy IX. because that game is I play that game in chunks because that story is it's like I know what to expect. I know where to get all the stuff. I know when I can go to the swamp early and get Quina and everything's gonna be okay. I gravitate towards those single player story games just because it's something that I've done before and I know I can do, and it's like, again, I don't have to really think too hard about it, but I can still enjoy it because I enjoy that story. So it's like my comfort food, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a very long-winded story. And I know you weren't expecting me to say Final Fantasy X too, because that game is bizarre.
Yeah. What about you?
Mine is not nearly as intense as Alexa's. So I travel a lot for work, like a lot. And so I'm on planes all the time, and I don't always want to bring like my 3DS, or I used to bring my Vita, but I do bring my iPad pretty much on every single flight that I go on. And the one game that I only play on my iPad in an airplane is Candy Crush. Now, I resisted Candy Crush for a really long time. I was like, I'm not playing that. That's a garbage free-to-play game. I don't want to play this game. But man, it is so addicting. Now, I get why they've made billions of dollars with this
It's a good way to occupy your brain.
So here's, at its core, it's a very simple match 3 mechanic. But what they've done so fantastically is they've utilized the swipe mechanics with sounds, and like the getting the stripy candy, and then being able to like get the
It's like Vegas.
It is, in the sense that, like you're always searching for that elusive chocolate ball, because that'll like solve all of your problems until it
Don't
doesn't
they
solve
all?
your problems. And there's something about that game that is just, I don't want to say mind numbing, but it just is something you can do while doing other things. And it's okay. Like I'll listen to music, or I'll like have a movie on if there's like a screen on the flight, and I can still play Candy Crush while I'm doing that. And it's something I only do in an airplane. I don't play it in the airport, like before I get on the plane. I don't play it at home. John plays it at home on the couch a lot.
How dare he?
Is that
No,
because
it's
you're
fine.
embarrassed? Why do you only play it on the airplane?
I don't know. I think it's because I have it downloaded on my phone, and I have played it like a couple of times when I've been waiting in line for things. But I'm not a person that plays games in the bathroom. I know a lot of people play games on their phone on the shitter. Like that's fine. That's cool for you. It's not my thing.
Takes your mind off the task at hand. Yeah. Shouldn't be difficult.
Yeah, I'm more of like a get in, get out kind of person.
Yeah, me too. I don't let it simmer.
I don't linger.
What's good pooping habits?
What's good poops?
But so I only play like on an airplane, and I now have downloaded Candy Crush Soda Saga, I think it's called, Soda Crush or something. The one with the sodas.
Candy Crush soda shit.
And my problem though is that I get to the point where I want to spend money, but then because I'm in flight, I can't get access to the internet, and I have never brought myself to pay for the Wi-Fi just to get into the microtransactions. I did that once for
double whammy to your wallet.
No, it is. I did that once for Hearthstone, and I admitted it publicly on Twitter. And someone was like, "Why didn't you just spend the money that you paid for Wi-Fi on buying like card packs?" And I was like, "That actually is that's a fair point you made there, sir."
So do you think it's kind of like comfort food for your flight, and it's just something you've become accustomed to doing? Is that why?
No, I think it more is that like it's so consistent. I know that I can do it, and I know that it'll occupy my time, and it's something that I can do during takeoff, during landing, because you can always have your your mobile device out, and it's just always there, and the game just never changes. I mean, they make updates to the game obviously, but I'm not that very far. Like some people are like really deep into that game, and I just like once my lives run out, I switch over to the soda version, and then once my lives run out there, if like my time hasn't refilled anything, then I put it down until for like another hour or so, and then I pick it back up once the lives have regenerated, and I keep going until they run out again, and then that's it. I'm done. And then once the flight's over, I put it away, and then I don't think about it until I get back on an airplane where I pull out the iPad and I start playing Candy Crush again. I don't know why I only play it on airplanes, but it's very soothing.
Yeah.
It's just like something simple that you can do to pass the time.
You're a big Tetris fan.
Yes.
So you kind of like these sorts of things.
Yes, and I probably should play Tetris on my iPad instead because they now have a variety of different Tetrises you can get for mobile. But yeah, there's just Tetris. I feel like it's not something that you can. I mean, obviously you can just press pause and step away from it, but because it feels like unless you're playing endless mode in Tetris, like there's still like set levels. Candy Crush doesn't really feel like that. I feel like I can walk away from that level at any point and it's fine. I mean, strategically, you shouldn't do that because of the way that lives regenerate, but like, and they're time based, but you could. I don't know.
I've never played, so it's very
You've never once tried Candy Crush?
No, I've resisted.
I haven't either.
Resist.
Have you played any match 3 game?
Yeah.
No.
Have you never tried Puzzles and Dragons?
No.
Well, you might like that actually.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot more RPG strategy in a game like that. And then Marvel Puzzle Quest is supposed to be pretty good as well. I've downloaded it, but again, that's another game that you need an internet connection or a mobile signal to play. So,
Well, maybe once I finish one of the 10 games I'm currently juggling.
well, you can
try.
borrow my copy of Puzzle and Dragons if you want. Puzzles and Dragon or Dragon and Puzzles?
I think it's Puzzle and Dragons.
So it's Dragons plural. I always get it wrong.
Definitely plural dragons. I'm not
You
sure
want
about puzzles.
Puzzle
you
and
want
Dragons.
mini
Puzzle
dragons.
and Dragons.
So yeah,
Puzzle and Dragons.
so thank you very much for your question, Scott. We appreciate when you guys write to us, whether you communicate on social media or you email us. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to reach out and talk to us. So, ladies, I think that's probably going to do it for this week's show. Next week we will be back, all 4 of us. Right? No one's out of town. Somebody's out of town.
No.
No, we're all here.
Wow, yeah.
Fantastic. That's lovely. With summer travel, it sometimes is a little bit confusing and difficult. But once again, I want to remind you, since it is the end of the month, it's not too late to get in for next month's Patreon exclusives. If you guys want to be part of our Patreon community, we would love to have you. It's patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. It helps us bring the show to you every week without our amazing patrons. Patrons? That's the word. Patrons. We wouldn't be here. So thank you so much for everyone who is contributing. We love you. Alexa Ray, where can people find you these days?
You can find me on the internet everywhere.
Could you be a little bit more specific?
Twitter at Alexa Ray C. I'm at Alexa Ray on Instagram. I keep getting tagged by rando people who are trying to tag there's a porn star that shares a name as me. And she didn't get the at Alexa Ray, and I keep getting tagged, and people are trying to tag her.
Use
Stop
it.
Yeah, they are.
All press is good press.
Stop tagging me. I am not no. Also, you can go to Amazon.com and type my name and buy my book. Thanks.
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Am I missing anything? At Blonde Nerd and blondenerd.com.
Yeah, you had the ability to get your name everywhere.
My name is not Blonde Nerd.
Well, your branding name.
I know, because
Shut it.
you're going to tell your salty Steimer story
No,
about how some German
you can
guy...
find, yeah, but I'm Kay Steimer on Instagram, Steimer everywhere else.
How dare they?
Lovely. The best place. The best place to follow me is at Andrea Renee on Twitter. That's where I put the bulk of my updates. You can also watch me with the Kind of Funny folks on Kind of Funny Games Daily. That is, I'm there twice a week. You can get that on Twitch or on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We also would love it if you could subscribe to What's Good Games podcast on podcast services. Again, I mentioned that at the top of the show, and I'm going to mention it again at the bottom. It just takes a second. Even if you don't listen to the show audio only, if you watch the video, it would really help us out. So thank you once again. That's going to do it for us. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week.